Hussman School of Journalism and Media at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics. This is Sports Extra.
You know how the saying goes, Duke is puke, Wake is fake, but the one we hate is NC State. Isn't that right, Sophia?
You are absolutely right, Julia. And with the massive men's basketball win against the Wolfpack, I need to ask, is the basketball team teasing us, or are they really playing their way into the tournament? Good morning and welcome to Sports Extra. I'm Sophia Pedroso.
And I'm Julia Thompson. Thank you for joining us. Let's get right into it and head to the Smith Center. On Wednesday, the Dean Dome held its first no-ticket required game since 2000 as Carolina men's basketball took on rival NC State in a highly anticipated ACC matchup. While it was freezing outside, the Tar Heels were on fire from start to finish, and the key was their defense. NC State struggled to find an answer for Carolina's full-court press as the Heels forced 9 first-half turnovers from the Wolfpack. R.J. Davis led the offensive charge with plays like that drive to the hoop. The Heels controlled the first half, leading by 28 points heading into the break. The momentum continued with back-to-back slam dunks like that one you just saw from Ben Allen Lubin. To start the second, Wolfpack guard Jaden Taylor fought to cut down the lead, but Carolina refused to let up by dominating in the paint. Carolina basketball was on full display as the Heels continued to sweep the Wolfpack 97-73.
It was one of our most, if not the most complete game that we played all season. I thought, our energy, our effort, our attention to detail on both ends of the floor was really good.
After cruising past the Wolfpack at home, the Carolina basketball team is looking ahead to UVA tomorrow. Hubert Davis and the Heels will need to prepare for Cavalier junior guard Isaac McNeely, who led his team to a victory against Virginia Tech last week, posting 22 points with 6 threes. But continuing shooting streaks from Jalen Washington and Ian Jackson could make a big difference this weekend, as they did against Syracuse and NC State. With a chance at the big dance waning, the Heels will need to secure every win they can from here on out.
Last night, the women's basketball team shipped up to New York to take on the Syracuse Orange. The Heels entered the game without leading scorer Alyssa Utsby. Senior forward Maria Gokdang was the star, pouring in 21 points and 14 rebounds. And sparking a crucial 9-0 run in the second quarter. Although Syracuse hit 6 three-pointers and pushed back hard in the third, UNC's balanced attack with timely threes from Lexi Donarski and contributions from several players helped seal the win 68-58. Next up, 9th-ranked UNC women's basketball team takes on the Louisville Cardinals on Sunday. The Tar Heels have been on fire with a 6-game winning streak. Last Sunday, the Heels escaped with a victory against the NC State Wolfpack. Graduate guard Grace Townsend came in clutch with a free throw to seal the deal. The Heels followed that up with last night's 10-point win. The Louisville Cardinals have swift offensive plays in the paint. Pairing that with a home advantage in Louisville, the Heels are in for a fight. We thought the big news weather-wise was snow in Chapel Hill, but actually it was the raining threes we saw from the men's and women's basketball teams on Wednesday and Thursday. Sports Extra women's basketball analyst Molly Malik joins us now at the desk to talk about the epic weekend we saw this week. Molly, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Molly, let's start with the men's game. It really looked like the basketball team that we know and love. What did you think went well?
Honestly, I thought a lot of it had to do with Jalen Withers. He kicked the game off right. He's back in the starting lineup, but it was his clutch 3 to get us on the board that went absolutely electric in the Dean Dome. You know what? Let's check it out.
Absolutely. I mean, check out this incredible shot from him. He's going to make it and falls on the ground, knocking down a 3 while getting knocked down yourself. I know that team had to be fired up from that, and they kept that momentum going up the whole game. The 24-point victory was its largest over NC State since 2017.
You know, Sophia, while the men were firing on all cylinders, women's basketball was down one key player in Alyssa Utsby.
I mean, she is a huge part of Carolina's basketball success. What was it like with the team in her absence?
They started off the game playing pretty sloppy, but, you know, they are a top 10 team now, and they started playing like that. But I think it was also the fact that they could rely on players like Renaya Kelly, who was ACC Player of the Week, and now Maria Gokting, who made a star of herself. I mean, she was really showing up that night, and she was the only one that had played at Syracuse before this.
Absolutely. And what did Gokting do so well?
She walked away from the night with a double-double because she snagged 14 rebounds and 21 whopping points. I mean, it was a great showing for her overall, but I also give her a lot of credit because in the post-game interview, she talked about how it's her teammates that really set her up for some good positioning. So thanks to her teammates, thanks to Maria Gokting, the Heels walked away with a massive win.
Well, thanks to them, but a thanks to you for being here. Thank you so much for joining us, Molly. The threes weren't just raining down in basketball. Two-time Olympian Aranza Vasquez just completed her 3P in diving as she won the ACC 1-meter competition. Vasquez scored a 69 on her clean and impressive dive, which makes her a back-to-back-to-back ACC champ as she has won this exact event now for the third straight year.
And the action continued on Thursday at the ACC Swimming Diving Championships. Records broken, podiums claimed, and the competition came down to the final strokes. Ben Del Mar trailed early in the men's 400 individual medley, but surged in the freestyle leg to secure third place and set a school record. In the 100 freestyle, Boyd Polk raced to second place, and Patrick Hussey finished with a silver, setting a school record for the second time this week. In the 200 free, on the diving board, Lainey Gutch, only a freshman, delivered a strong performance in the 3-meter event, securing second place. Alicia Adams is at Corey Natatorium now with more about the swim heels. Alicia?
Hi, I'm here at the Corey Natatorium where I had the opportunity to sit down with UNC swimmer Skylar Smith as she talks about how her leadership has helped her as she takes on the ACC championships this week in Greensboro.
When it comes to UNC swimming and diving, Skylar Smith is a name that's all too familiar in and out of the pool.
I can, I will, and I'm completely able to do this. For every race and tell myself that I can, I will, and I'm completely capable. It just gives me this boost of confidence knowing that everything I've done these past 6 months in the water as well as out of the water has prepared me for these moments.
Smith has proven that her commitment goes beyond the pool as she prepares for her next race, the ACC Championships.
This is kind of like a training book my coach kind of wrote me. He gave me some things to work on.
As a senior, Smith's leadership is undeniable.
I'm usually the most vocal leader on the pool deck. I'm probably the one yelling. I'm probably the one trying to get the whole crowd rowdy. Being able to put yourself out there even in your weakest moments. Like, I hate talking about my freshman year or this past Olympic trials and how it was heartbreaking. But it's something for not only me to be better about and think about and use it as motivation and know that it's part of my story, but it's also a way to help this freshman and sophomore know that success isn't linear. So that's something that I feel with my story that's been able to help out with them.
Her consistency even boils down to her pre-race ritual.
I've got a superstition where I have to clap 7 times on the blocks before I get in the water. It's something I've always done. I've done it since I was like 9 or 10 years old.
With her level of focus, Smith broke 5 school records last year, etching her name into the books of history. Looking ahead, Smith takes on the ACC Championships this week in Greensboro. I'm Alicia Adams reporting.
Smith heading into the final stretch of the ACC Championships. Her leadership and confidence have the Heels dialed in.
Number 2 UNC women's lacrosse returns home tomorrow to face number 4 Syracuse at Dorrance Field. Syracuse is a 3-0 on the season with Olivia Adamson leading with 10 goals so far. Emma Ward is a key attacker along with Adamson and will be tough to shut down. Chloe Humphrey hopes to continue stacking up her goals on the season, coming in at 13 so far. Her sister Ashley has been key with her assists and hopes to keep bringing them against Syracuse. The Heels need to come ready to play to gain another top 5 win. 2 players from women's lacrosse are ACC Players of the Week following their outstanding performances in the Tar Heels' top 5 victory against Florida. Ashley Humphrey is Offensive Player of the Week. The graduate attacker led the game with 9 points, recording 3 goals and a game-high 6 assists. This marks her second hat trick of the season. Humphrey's 9 points are the most she's recorded as a Tar Heel. Brooklyn Walker-Welch is the ACC Co-Defensive Player of the Week. The defender recorded 3 caused turnovers, 2 ground balls, and she scored a goal on a perfect shot. This is the second straight week the Tar Heels have had an ACC Defensive Player of the Week.
The men's lacrosse team will face off in an away battle against third-ranked Johns Hopkins tomorrow at noon. Last week, the Heels took down Stony Brook 9-4 with outstanding performances from Dominic Petramala and Ty English. These two and the team will need to continue this level of play to take down the 4-win Johns Hopkins team, and specifically senior Russell Melendez, who is 22nd in points scored. Defenseman Chase Sully is ACC Defensive Player of the Week after a stacked game against Stony Brook. The freshman played a pivotal role in the victory, tallying 5 caused turnovers and 4 ground balls in only his second career game. The Heels' offense allowed only 4 goals. Sulichi became the 3rd Tar Heel in 5 seasons to pick up 5 caused turnovers in a single game. After starting the season 2-0 for the 12th straight season, this Carolina defensive unit is ranked 3rd in the nation, and Sulichi has played a big part in that ranking.
To learn more about Carolina lacrosse, we have women's lacrosse analyst Sophia Gray and men's analyst Dylan Stalter to talk about both teams' seasons so far. Sophia, Dylan?
Thanks, Julia. People have been debating, is UNC a basketball school? Is it a football school now with Bill Belichick in town? Well, this season may just prove that Carolina is a lacrosse school.
And the women are off to a strong start, and they proved that they're a force to be reckoned with this season. So far, 2 of their 3 matchups have been ranked opponents, including a top 5 win against the Gators last week. Carolina is scoring on average 17 goals a game, while their defense holds their opponents to 4 goals. In just 2 weeks, they've had 3 ACC Players of the Week: Ashley Humphrey, Brooklyn Walker-Welch, and defender Sam Forrest.
The men's team had a ranked win of their own against Michigan to start the year. They say defense wins championships, and it definitely helped the Heels start the season with 2 wins. Tar Heels have earned back-to-back Defensive Player of the Week awards in the ACC. And now both teams find themselves ranked in the top 10, largely thanks to a pair of standout sophomores.
She redshirted last year, but it's Chloe Humphrey who has come up big in her first 3 games. In playing as a Tar Heel, she has notched 13 goals. Her sister Ashley has the second most on the team with 6.
And the men have a second-year sensation of their own in Dom Petramala. The attack already has 9 goals in 2 games. He scored from range, behind the net, and everywhere in between. All eyes have been on Owen Duffy, but the lefty is certainly making a name for himself this season.
Well, we're going to need the Stars to shine during their top 10 matchups tomorrow. The girls are set for a big game at noon as they host the undefeated 4th-ranked Syracuse Orange. UNC will have their hands full with preseason tour and watch list attacker Olivia Adamson, who has been a key playmaker for Syracuse. Now, I will say the Heels did struggle to find consistency at the draw against Florida, and their defense held strong, so they'll need to step up against the Orange squad, led by junior Megan Rode, who already has 20 draw controls this season. It's definitely going to be a fight at Dorrance tomorrow.
And the men have their first big test of the season on Saturday when they take on 3rd-ranked Johns Hopkins on the road. The Heels struggled a bit with ball possession against Stony Brook, and they're going up against a Johns Hopkins squad known to wreak havoc defensively. The Heels are going to have to run a tight ship on all ends of the field if they want to steal a road win this weekend. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you both so much. And speaking of undefeated teams at Carolina, UNC baseball looks to stay undefeated as the Heels face ECU in a 3-game weekend series. UNC will have to keep an eye on ECU's standout freshman Alex Peltier, who has been swinging a hot bat early in the season, leading the Pirates in on-base plus slugging and already notching a home run. The Tar Heels are in Greenville for a 5 p.m. matchup, then head to Durham on Saturday for a 12:30 start. The series wraps up in Chapel Hill Sunday at Boshamer Stadium with the first pitch at 1 p.m. Carolina softball is gearing up for an action-packed weekend, hoping to take down Maryland, Georgetown, Wagner, and Queens in the Carolina Classic. Despite their recent loss to South Carolina, the Tar Heels have been on fire so far this season. They're undefeated at home, and just last weekend they annihilated Princeton thanks to dominant pitcher Nikki Harris. Her win-loss record is an impressive 4-0. Carly Myrtle is also showing up, and so is Kat Rodriguez, who has been an absolute offensive weapon for the Tar Heels with an unbelievable 12 RBIs just this week.
Atlantic Coast Conference women's tennis starts this weekend with the third-seeded Tar Heels facing Syracuse University in New York later this afternoon. The second matchup for the Heels is Sunday against Boston College. Head coach Brian Calvis has led the Tar Heels to victory in the ACC tournament 7 times already since starting the job in 2003. Carolina won the ACC tournament in 2024 and is looking to defend the title for a 13th championship this year.
The Gym Heels will also be hitting the road this weekend as they prepare for a grueling doubleheader. On Friday, Carolina is looking for revenge against the Wolfpack in Raleigh after a loss earlier in the season. On Sunday, they'll face #1 Oklahoma at their Metroplex Challenge in Fort Worth, Texas. Momentum might be a challenge for the Sooners coming off a loss against #2 LSU and facing 5th-ranked Florida on Friday before the challenge. The Heels will need to dig deep to face an old rival and a generational powerhouse in just one weekend. Let's bring it home to Carolina, as this Saturday we all need to head on down to the Eddie Smith Fieldhouse for the fencing ACC Championship. The second-seeded men's team, led by Boris Muga, last year's ACC Most Valuable Fencer, will be looking to defend their title, while the women's team will be looking for a Cinderella story as the 5th-seeded team in the league. The female fencers will have to keep up the momentum from their standout performances at the 2025 Junior Olympics in Charlotte. Senior Sophia Kovacs took second in Division I women's saber, while freshman Marisol Kapalua placed in the top 35 in 2 epi events. 2 other freshmen are also off to good starts at UNC.
While Play of the Week isn't quite the Junior Olympics, it was still a competitive matchup. But in the end, the win went to Kane Kepley for his home run robbery. Kepley proves that Carolina baseball doesn't need Vance Honeycutt to play good defense. We're going to see him leap in the air to grab that ball and steal away the home run opportunity from Texas Tech in this SportsCenter Top 10 play. We'll be back on Monday with 2 new candidates for Play of the Week.
The UNC track and field team will head north to both Boston University and Virginia Tech for their respective challenges. A few athletes on the team will remain in Boston today to compete in the distance medley relay and 800-meter relay, while the remainder of the team will compete in the Virginia Tech Challenge in Blacksburg. The VT Challenge will head into tomorrow. The UNC wrestling team is heading west for a top 20 showdown against number 16 Stanford tonight, followed by a matchup with Oregon State on Sunday. Coming off a dominant 26-10 win against UVA, the Tar Heels look to keep their momentum rolling. Redshirt junior Lachlan McNeil continues to be a force with his ability to secure strategic pins, while redshirt senior Gavin Kane helped seal last week's victory with several quick takedowns. Stanford poses a strong challenge led by ACC Wrestler of the Week Tyler Knox. Later on the road trip, Oregon State poses less of a challenge for UNC.
UNC men's golf team traveled to La Quinta, California this week. Carolina placed 8th out of 24 schools that competed and finished with a score of even par. David Ford tied for 19th, shooting 3 under par.
The reigning national champion UNC women's soccer team is back in action for their first spring game of the season, facing off against the UNC Wilmington Seahawks. Since their fairy tale finish in December, Carolina has welcomed 4 mid-year enrollees who will get their first chance to showcase their skills tomorrow. Look for strong performances from returners Kate Fossey, the National Player of the Year, and Olivia Thomas, the championship-winning goal scorer, as they take the field once again. This game also marks the beginning of Coach Damon Nahas' official tenure as head coach. This matchup will be a great opportunity to see how the veterans mesh with the new faces. Let's kick it from the soccer field to the rugby field as the club rugby team starts their spring season. Reporter May Proctor caught up with their kickers to learn more.
In rugby, games are won or lost with the kicker's ability to execute.
A lot of rugby matches have been decided just by conversion kicks, so it's really, really important to have a good and consistent kicker on the team.
Caitlin Davis and Ashton Kelly are two of the best kickers on the UNC women's rugby team.
I think the hardest thing about my position, I think, is definitely like the pressure and like when it comes down to it, like everyone watching.
As the team transitions from playing 15s in the fall, where 15 players aside battle it out for 80 minutes, to 7s in the spring, where 7 players aside scramble for victory in 2 7-minute halves, these kickers will need to work hard to transition their technique and dial into dynamic 7-style play. While 15s can be more tactical, 7s is all about quick decision-making, and it comes with the added challenge of not being able to use a tee when kicking.
You have a good kickoff, and 7s gives your team the chance to recover the ball off the kickoff, and then you're on the attack. 7s kicking for kickoffs, you want them to go high and short. 15s kicking for kickoffs, you want them to go long. 7s conversion kicks, you have to do a drop kick. Kicking off a tee, I would say, is easier, and kicking longer, I would say, is easier.
If this team wants to perform in 7s play, Davis and Kelly will need to perfect the art of the drop kick.
Kickers are a vital part of any good rugby team, and these kickers are going to have to perform under pressure to keep the team's tournament hopes alive. I'm May Proctor reporting.
And look outside, we can see that a lot of the snow from this weekend is melted, but when the men's basketball team played, we had students trekking across campus, across Chapel Hill to come support our boys when they played.
Syracuse, and when they played, and we are hoping that this weekend against UVA will be amazing. That does it for this edition of Sports Extra.
We'll be back on Monday with all the highlights from another exciting weekend of Carolina athletics.